What's up, YouTube? I am in much better mood this week after Raw. Oh, yes, I am. This week, it's only Monday, and I can already tell that it's going to be a great week to be Spaz. Now, before I get into Monday Night Raw and the Slammies, I do have to say one thing. Jeff Hardy beat Jeff Jarrett in the cage last night at TNA, what the fuck was it called? Final Resolution. No, I haven't talked about TNA here in a while, but I will hop on board when the Hardy Party gets started in January at Genesis. Basically, more or less, always Jeff Hardy's pay-per-view. He gets his world title shot. He's going to go back where he belongs. We're going to have CM Punk up here. We're going to have Jeff Hardy up here, and I'm going to be a happy kid, you know, provided CM Punk makes it through TLC. But anyways, now, oh yes, oh good lord. I'm not even drinking. This is just awesome. December 12th, Raw review, also known as the Slammy Awards 2011, also known as Special 3-Hour Raw, also known as a fucking good show. But, to be fair, WWE had to do a fucking good show after the bullshit they gave us last week. Start off with the Slammy Awards, this and that, and the next thing. They didn't open it up like a Raw. They opened it up as if the Slammy Awards was its own show, and then they got to the commentators and they said, "Welcome to Raw." So, yeah. But I thought it was cool that they actually started it off as a separate show rather than just saying, "Hey, we're having the Slammies on Raw." But the first award of the night was the Tell Me I Didn't Just See That award, obviously presented by Booker T and Hornswoggle. And the winner was the Dancing JR from the Michael Cole Challenge. JR comes out to accept his award, this and that. Michael Cole starts freaking out because obviously JR is not allowed to win anything because Michael Cole is all butthurt whenever JR is anywhere in the vicinity. But Booker T sets up a rap-off between JR and Michael Cole. Michael Cole proceeds to make an idiot out of himself like usual. JR proceeds to say, you know, "Michael Cole, you're an idiot and you're not in my league and I'm not a rapper, so deal with it." The crowd votes for JR in the rap-off, which, you know, was a given. And then Booker T, you know, convinces JR to do the worst possible thing you could ever ask JR to do. We wanted a JR Rooney. And it was horrible, but it's JR and he can do whatever the fuck he wants because he's JR. I don't care. Next up, we had the holy shit moment of the year, and they kept on calling it the holy bleep moment of the year. They kept on calling it the holy you-know-what moment of the year, and it's just like, just say shit. One time. They're not going to nail you for saying it once. It was presented by Mick Foley and the $1 Million Man, which was interesting. The winning holy shit moment of the year, you know, you knew this going in. You knew that it was going to be Show and Mark Henry breaking the ring. The other one I thought might have won would have been Sheamus powerbombing Sin Cara through the ladder back at Money in the Bank. I would have accepted that as well, but two guys that size going through the air, breaking the ring, I have no problem giving them the Slammy for that. Show comes out to accept it and then has a match with Wade Barrett. That doesn't last very long because TLC is this Sunday. They've got chairs and ladders and tables hanging around all the way around the ring to remind us that TLC is this Sunday, and Barrett sets up Big Show as if he's going to go through a table. But Big Show gets up and basically slams his hands down on the table and breaks it in half. Wade Barrett freaks out, legitimately. If you saw Big Show coming at you after he just broke a table with his own hands, you'd want a weapon too. He grabs a chair, swings it at Big Show, who punches it away. At that point, why is my computer beeping at me? At that point, the referee calls the match, and Big Show's declared the winner. I don't really know how. It doesn't make much sense because Wade Barrett never successfully used a weapon on him. But whatever. You knew Wade Barrett wasn't going to win this match anyway. Which is fine. We have a Nash Triple H promo for their Sledgehammer on a Ladder match this Sunday at TLC, which is good. It's good that they put a good video package together because these guys haven't really done much to build up the match, to be fair. I have my hesitations about this match to begin with. I've said it in previous videos. I don't think we should be putting Nash on a ladder. I don't think, you know, I don't think at this point in his career Triple H should be getting on a ladder for that matter, but that's just me. That's fine. Next. Oh, this is where I start marking out like a fiend and do not have any semblance of self-respect at all anymore. Pipe Bomb of the Year was presented by none other than the Road Dogg Jesse James, and I mark out like a fiend. They do a great video package of some of the greatest promos that have been done this year. They had to intersperse something else in the mix so that it wasn't an entire video of CM Punk, but there was that. CM Punk wins. Duh. Pipe Bomb. He made the phrase famous. You knew he was going to win. He comes out with a doll dressed in like 80s clothes and you know, thanks everybody and this and that, and then proceeds to show another promotional video of John Laurinaitis back when he was Johnny Ace, who I never saw because, you know, I really don't give a shit. But it was funny. It was how lame he was back then versus how boring he is now in equal measure, and the way it was put together was fantastic. WWE, as I've always said, as I keep saying, they have a great, you know, video editing, whatever you want to call it, department. They always put together really awesome video package type stuff. And then it's announced that Punk and Orton will face Miz and Alberto Del Rio later tonight. All good, right? All good so far. Then, oh, Christmas came early, guys. For your buddy Spaz, Christmas came early this year. The Divalicious moment of the year was presented by the women's wrestler, not diva, the women's wrestler that will hold my wrestling fan heart for life. Oh yes, the mistress of Team Extreme. We had Lita on Raw. Oh yes. Sadly, the winner of the Divalicious moment of the year was Kelly Kelly. Sadly, she got a slap in on the Divas of Doom. So we had probably the best thing to ever happen to women's wrestling and the worst thing to happen to women's wrestling on the same stage at the same time, side by side. I'm pretty sure Preston was jerking off, and that's kind of wrong. But you know what? It was awesome to see Lita. On a side note, I know there's a lot of haters out there that don't like Team Extreme, don't like Lita, don't like Matt, don't like Jeff, whatever. You know you're a hater when you have nothing better to do than to scour the internet and find mugshots of these people and float them around Facebook. Oh yes. You know, because nobody else has ever gotten a DUI. Nobody else has ever driven without a license, you know. They didn't kill anybody. They didn't attempt to kill anybody. They didn't, you know, shoot your dog and rape your mother, as our good buddy Spinnernet would say. It's just in bad taste, and I'm glad that despite all the little piddly bullshit that's floating around the internet, Lita still got a little chance to shine on Raw. The only diva, along with Trish Stratus, obviously, because you need an opponent, but the only two divas to ever main event Raw. One was at WrestleMania, one got to present an award at the Slammys tonight. Preston, get over it. Real women are better than Barbie dolls. Moving on. Oh my god, moment of the year was presented by Santino Marella and the Bellas, which is, you know, it's doomed to fail as soon as you give Santino Marella a microphone, but he's comic relief at best. Oh my god, moment of the year goes to Triple H tombstoning the Undertaker. Triple H, you know, doesn't even grab the statue. He's back from being attacked by Nash, which is great. He goes down to the ring and he talks about the last time he was in a big match environment was when he took on Undertaker at WrestleMania. He didn't win the match, but Undertaker was the one that had to be carted out at the end of the match. And, you know, Undertaker's somebody I respect. What do you think I'm going to do to somebody like you and whatever? He replays the video of the attack that Nash did to him and basically signs it off with, "You should have finished the job." And, you know, all due respect to guys like CM Punk and The Rock and whatever, when it comes to the go-home show before a big match, Triple H can pull out a pretty decent promo out of his ass as well. So, you know, good points for him. We have a promo for Tribute to the Troops, which is always awesome. It's going to be tomorrow night. Apparently Nickelback is headlining musically, which you know, their song "Burn It to the Ground" has been the theme for Raw for like ever now, so it's not a huge surprise. I think there's some other R&B people involved. I think there's some other actors that are be involved. The Muppets are involved, yay! But you know, tribute for the troops is what it is, and it's always cool to see what they put together. David Otunga and Tony Atlas present the Trending Superstar of the Year award, which is not really presented so much as it's announced that there's going to be a fatal four-way match between Cody Rhodes, Daniel Bryan, Dolph Ziggler, and Zack Ryder. And during that match, whichever of them trends first will win the Slammy. Now, huge "Let's Go Ryder" chant, obviously. Who's the social media maven in WWE right now? It's going to be Ryder. You know it's going to be Ryder. When they gave the name of the category, you knew it was going to be Ryder. Didn't stop us from having a fucking tremendous mid-card fatal four-way match. Like I say, the crowd was going nuts. The crowd was given sort of the TNA type chants during this, you know, the "this is awesome, this is wrestling" type chants. I don't even know why. It wasn't the high point of the match at all. Daniel Bryan and Zack Ryder both went for a crossbody in the middle of the ring, and the way they collided, and I've said this before in matches where this has been the moment that is stuck out of my head, they crossbodied and they hit each other, and it was the impact and the way they ragdolled each other simultaneously was done so well that that's the part that sticks out in the match. Ziggler wins the match. He celebrates, whatever. He wins convincingly, too, because he spends the majority of this match going heel on heel with Cody Rhodes, which is a match I would not mind seeing at all if they ever decide to unify the U.S. and Intercontinental Championship, but that's another story for another time. Those two guys beat the crap out of each other. Ziggler wins the match. It's announced that Ryder was the one trending, so he's your trending star of the year. Like I said, as soon as they announced the name of this category, you knew Ryder was going to win. There was no way that Ryder was not going to win this. Game Changer of the Year was presented by Christian, who came out and cried the blues about his injuries and so forth. And the winning moment for Game Changer of the Year was when Cena and Rock announced that they're going to fight at next year's WrestleMania. Now, Cena, oh dear. Cena came out to accept the award, and he says, I'm not the only one that deserves this award. Ladies and gentlemen, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Everybody on their feet for John Cena to laugh at them. I'm not going to dwell on it, but that's the kind of guy John Cena is, and that's the way the WWE is using him, and I'll let that speak for itself. Now, not very much to say about this match. It speaks for itself as well. Orton and Punk versus Alberto Del Rio and The Miz. Awesome match all the way through. Majority of the match was Miz versus Punk, which did not hurt my feelings at all. Towards the end of the match, Wade Barrett came out of the crowd and took out Orton. Double team on Punk. Miz hits the skull-crushing finale for the win, and Miz and Alberto double-team ladder attack Punk to build up tension and whatnot for the triple threat TLC match at TLC for the WWE Championship. Alberto Del Rio locked in the cross arm breaker with Punk's arm stuck in a ladder while Miz was more or less, telling him off and whatnot. And Punk, as always, to his credit, selling the armbar like a fiend. Now, I have a side thought about the TLC match at TLC this Sunday. They keep billing it as the first ever triple threat championship match. Now, in a singles capacity, that is true, I guess. But the original TLC match was a triple threat tag team championship match. So they're only about half right when they say that. Not a big deal, just a thought. Just thought I'd throw it out there. You guys do with that what you will. The A-lister of the year was presented by Vicky Guerrero and Goldust. Goldust proceeded to tell Vicky that she won an award as well for being the only one at the Slammys wearing more makeup than him. Not gonna lie, that made me laugh. The winner was Snooki. She gave a short, via satellite response and gave a quick shout out to Zack Ryder, and that's fine and not nearly as obnoxious as I thought it was going to be. Wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Sheamus versus Jinder Mahal is supposed to be up next, but Jinder Mahal spends way too much time blah blah blahing on his way to the ring that by the time he gets to the ring, he eats a boot from Sheamus, and the referee determines that he's not even in a good enough shape after taking the kick to have the match, so Sheamus basically wins for being awesome, and Jinder Mahal loses for being an ass. Superstar of the Year is announced, and here's where I'm not going to make fun of Preston, because I'm a nice guy, and Preston, me and Preston are buddies. I respect him. You guys know that. Wait, no, I don't. But we do agree that Rey Mysterio is pretty cool. Rey Mysterio made his comeback to announce Superstar of the Year, and this, I might be petty. I might be a really, really petty person, and if you want to label me as a petty person for this, I will not blame you in the slightest. My entire opinion of this show going in, without knowing all the other awesome shit that was going to happen, my opinion of this show going in was going to hinge on who won Superstar of the Year. Because if John Cena had three-peated, especially after the year that other people in the WWE have had, I would have shit a brick. And I would have had a video going this week, much like I had last week, and nobody wanted to see that 2 weeks in a row. Did they? Did they? Oh. Did you? Okay, good. But WWE did something right. WWE gave Superstar of the Year to CM Punk. Good. I could have been happy with giving it to a Randy Orton, giving it to a Miz, giving it to an Alberto Del Rio, because Alberto Del Rio shattered all expectations that at least I had for him going into this year. Anybody. I could even have swallowed it if they had given it to Mark Henry, because Mark Henry, much like Alberto Del Rio, I'm still not a big fan of him being the World Heavyweight Champion, but he's done better with it than I thought he would, and I will admit that. So, as far as exceeding expectations and whatever, Alberto Del Rio, Mark Henry, Miz, anybody but Cena, because Cena has just been same old for about 10 years now. Gave it to CM Punk. The right decision was made. End of the day. Now, they said because CM Punk had already been taken out by Alberto Del Rio and The Miz earlier in the tag team match, John Laurinaitis came out all cocky as fuck and all, I'm going to accept it on CM Punk's behalf. I am John Laurinaitis, Executive Vice President of Talent Relations, and and I used to drive a skateboard, and I'm taking CM Punk Slammy, and I'm going now. Bye. So that was that, and that was kind of lame, but ultimately they recognized CM Punk as by far and away the highlight of this year, which is great. Now we have Cena versus Mark Henry, which was the advertised main event of the show. Now I went into this Raw already thinking that I knew what was going to happen, and already preparing to tell you guys how, John Cena's not even a number one contender for the WWE title, and he buried the World Heavyweight Champion. To credit the WWE, Mark Henry owned Cena like a bitch tonight. Even caught him, even with a dirty-ass World's Strongest Slam. That made me smile. What made me smile even more was what happened next. Big flaming pyro at the top of the ramp. Lights go out. The old school Kane music hits. And I'm thinking, okay, either he's just going to stand there and look really, really scary to announce that he's back, or he's going to come and get his revenge on Mark Henry. Either one would have been fine with me. If he just wanted to be cryptic at the top of the rampway, that would have been fine. If he wanted to come down and take out his, revenge or vengeance or whatever on Mark Henry, that would have been fine too, because it would have fit storyline. But he came out, sort of how his old attire used to be, with, the full body tights and whatever, with like some drawn on flame coming up one side, and it all looks like stitches, and the fabric looks like it's all been stitched together like a Raggedy Ann doll and whatever, except he's got a big ass fucking helmet on him, sort of like Jeff Hardy. and nobody really knows why. It looked like a cross between, like, what Hardy had on at the pay-per-view / a welder's helmet / a bike helmet. That's a horrible way to describe it, but it's all I've got. Came down to the ring, you know, boom, bing, bang, boom, pyro. Does he not lay out Cena like a bitch? Oh, yes. Yes, he does. Oh, yes, he does. And that's it. That's how Raw goes off the air. Kane is back, takes off the helmet, and he's got the half mask on. Now, the lights were all red and whatever, so we don't exactly know what the thing looks like because red lights shining on his red face. Didn't get a clear look at the mask. But he is masked again. I don't know what the deal with the helmet is just yet. I do know that he did not go for the obvious target, which was Mark Henry. I do know that he took out John Cena, so John Cena will probably not be at TLC. I do not mind that in the slightest. And this Raw almost makes up for last week's Raw. It comes within about that much. TLC's looking awesome, by the way. Now, scores, fails, and MVPs. Scores. The J.R. Rooney. Enough said. The entire Road Dogg, Pipe Bomb, CM Punk, John Laurinaitis mockery vid, that entire segment, beginning to end, there was nothing fail about that. The return of Lita, even though she had to share the stage with Kelly Kelly. Awesome. The Rhodes versus Ziggler segments of the Fatal 4-Way match. Awesome. Sheamus punting Jinder Mahal so we didn't actually have to put up with a Jinder Mahal match. Awesome. Now, one thing I want to say is we've seen them go head-to-head in a number of tag team matches now. I want Miz and Punk, just the two of them. Like, I know with Alberto Del Rio, the three of them are fighting at TLC. I want a straight-up one-on-one match for the title between The Miz and Punk sometime in the very near future. Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber. I'd take it at Mania for sure. I really, really would. But, putting all that aside, we had an all-star Fatal 4-Way match. We had an all-star tag team match. Now, although Cena got taken out at the end by Kane, which made me smile, take that main event out, that's 8 men that put on 2 tremendous matches. Everybody out there that's been yelling at me over YouTube, over Facebook, over, email and whatever else, saying that John Cena is the one carrying WWE on his back, go look at those 2 epic matches tonight and say that WWE couldn't afford to put him on the back burner for just a little bit and let some of these other guys shine. Try to tell me that with a straight face. But anyways, great night, main event tag team match, mid-card Fatal 4-Way match, some awesome wrestling. Not a whole lot of wrestling for a 3-hour show, but the wrestling that we did have was good. I'll say that, to be fair. Not a great all-through wrestling show, but the parts of it that were wrestling were good. Does that make sense? I hope it does, because that's what I think, and at the end of the day, it's my channel, and that's what matters. Now, fails. Mrs. Cena wins the Diva of the Year. Again. Or, predictable and a half. Now, Cena being an ass and making everybody think The Rock was there. This is the kind of stuff that makes real wrestling fans not like Cena. Just so you're wondering. Now, Cena and The Rock win the Slammy. And I'm not saying this against The Rock, I'm not saying this against John Cena, I'm saying this against logic. Cena and The Rock win a 2011 Slammy for a match that's going to happen in 2012. That I don't like. That, because that same match, because of the hype involved, will probably earn them Match of the Year at the next Slammy. So they're going to win 2 awards, 2 different years for the same match. That doesn't make sense. That's all I'm going to say. Now, let's take a look at the old Fave 5. Orton not having a good night. Loses on the losing end of a tag team match, plus he's sort of taken out by Wade and ends up getting lost in the crowd after that match. Rhodes did not look any worse for not winning the Fatal 4-Way match. I said that really badly. What I meant to say, Rhodes did not win the Fatal 4-Way match, but he didn't lose any steam by not winning the Fatal 4-Way match. There we go. I'm tired. Ziggler, in fact, did win the Fatal 4-Way match against, 3 great other competitors, which is awesome. Miz wins the tag team match along with Alberto Del Rio by pinning CM Punk. He pinned the WWE champion. That's got to boost him, Punk goes down to a double team beatdown right before a major pay-per-view. He's not having a great night either, but on the upside, he won 2 Slammies. Oh yes. And after taking out Cena, can the MVP be anybody other than Kane? Just saying. Oh. In fact, here's to Kane. See you later, guys. I've been Spaz. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Tell me how much you like seeing Cena get dropped on his ass. Don't be a stranger, and I will talk to all you guys later. Bye-bye.